Okay, so this is where we ended last time. So, and in this video, what we are going to do is we are going to see how we can link the names from the names sheet to G5, G6, G7, and so on. So, what we are going to do now is let's go to G5. So when we come to G5 here, deliberately let's skip row 1, 2, row 1 and 2. Then let us maybe work on row 3 for deliberate reason, which you will see as we go on. So we are going to have the serial number. Then we are going to have the surname or the last name. Then we are also going to have the first name or other names. It doesn't matter what you put there. So you can say other names. It doesn't matter what you put there. So alright, so we have the serial number, surname, other names. So when we go back to the, okay, here we've used the last name and first name. So I think let's use the same so that there is, okay, last name, first name. Okay, so let's use the same so that there is uniformity. So we have last name, first name. Let us also use the font. Let's also change the font to Arial Narrow. Good. So we have that there. So now what I want to do is, okay, let us also put the numbers here. 1, 2, and we autofill up to 10. But you can go up to the number or up to the number you would want to. But just for demonstration purposes, sorry, I'm going to go up to 10. So now what we want here is to show this name Manda and Thomas on G5. So now what we are going to do is we are going to use the formulas. So now before I even start putting these formulas, I have to explain something here. There is what we call absolute cell referencing and relative cell referencing. So now we should be able to understand the difference between these two. There's what we call absolute cell referencing and also what we call relative cell referencing. Now, when we talk of absolute cell referencing, this is where the values in the formula does not change when you copy the formula from point A to point B. So the value of the formula, which are the cells in this case. So the cells in the formula do not change even as you move, even as you copy the formula from one cell to the other. Then when we talk of relative, the cell number or the cell referencing or the cell address changes depending on the movement of the cell or depending on where you are copying the formula to. So now what we are going to do here is, so I'll be mixing the two. So maybe for more information, please just research on cell referencing, which we have absolute and relative. So just do that research if what I said is not very much clear to you. But we are going to use them both. But most of these tutorials we are going to use relative referencing. So now here I'm going to use relative referencing. So I want the name here to come. So now I'll start with an equal sign. Then I'll go to the sheet names. Then I click. Now, maybe before I even finish here, before I even click the name there, you will notice that in the formula bar here, maybe, let me start again so that you see what is happening. So I put an equal sign. This is the G5 sheet. So I put an equal sign. Then you see there's just an equal sign there. Now, as soon as I click on the names sheet, you discover that there is names and an exclamation mark. So, meaning automatically the Excel has added to the formula to say we are getting this data from the sheet called the names. Okay? So now when I click B2 here, where there's Manda, you discover that Excel will again put B2. Meaning that this is the cell reference of what I'm looking for. So when I press enter here, you discover that Manda has been put there. So this data is from the sheet names cell B2. So I'll do the same here. So equals, I'll go to names C2. I press enter and we have that there. So now I can autofill this up to 10 there. Now there are zeros here because there is nothing in the cell. So now let's see. This is names B2. This here is names B2. Then this one is B3. So you can see B4, B5, B6, B7. So this is relative cell referencing because when we autofill, you will discover that it is relative to the cell that you are getting the data from. So the first one here is B2, the next is B3, B4, B5, B6, B7, B8, and so on. So now it is relative. I hope that is helpful there. Then when we talk, then we're going to do the same with C2. Now, before I autofill this, I have to get rid of these zeros. So now what we are going to do there is we are going to use the if function. We are going to use the if function. So again, you are supposed to know more about these functions like I had said in the introduction. So we are going to use the if function to get rid of the zeros. So I'll bring it here. Oh, sorry. So I'll bring it here. So we are going to use the if function. So if, now we are stating that, okay, maybe let me just do this. Okay, so we have if, there's a logical test here. So the logical test here is where the logic is, where we're going to put the logic. This is going to determine, because we don't want to have a zero. So this is going to determine if, so we are saying if names B2 is we can say less than, we can say less than 1, or we can say if it is equal to 0. It's up to you. Then the first one here, they are saying value if true. So we are going to say, so if names B2 is equal to 0, what we want is, if the value is true, meaning if it is equal to 0, so we want it to be blank. We don't want anything to be printed. We only want it to be blank. Then otherwise, meaning if it is not 0, it should print the names, the value from names B2. I hope there it's clear. So if names B2 is equal to 0, if this is true, the value that it should print should be blank. If it is not true, it should print the value from B2 from the sheet names. So we end our if there, I press enter, then I'll copy the form, I'll autofill the formula again, so that now we shouldn't have zeros. So when there's a zero, it should print blank. It should have a blank space there. So I'll autofill that up to 10. So you've seen that all the zeros have disappeared. So when I put more names, so I'll do the same with this one here. So let me just copy and paste. Remember, I'm assuming you already know how to copy and paste. That's why I'm very fast as I'm doing this. Good. So now I'll also autofill that. So now when I put the name, another name here, maybe Banda Mulipa. So automatically we have Banda Mulipa there. So if I put who else? Amanda. Amanda Matilda. So you can see that the names are coming there automatically. Okay, so that is that. So now here what we've done is we have linked sheet grade 5 to names. Alright, so now in the next tutorial, what we are going to do is we are going to see how we can set up the settings page here so that we have the necessary settings on this G5. So see you in the next video.